Hi, everyone. I'm popping on to provide you with a brief update on the COVID-19 situation in Shanghai as of today, April 25th. I just got off the phone with my team in Shanghai, and thankfully, everybody is doing well. Everybody has enough food supplies. Everybody's gotten a hang of doing these bulk purchases through WeChat. And people have gotten into a routine of pretty much working 7 hours, 7 days in the week just because of boredom that has sort of set in. But I think the realization for many is that, and again, I'm repeating what my team is saying. So obviously, it could be different circumstances for different people depending on where they're living. But at least the response from my team is that if you are living on the Puxi side of Shanghai, it looks like things are getting positive. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And it could very well be that in the next week or two, people will be able to get out of their homes and at least walk in the streets around their communities instead of being holed up in their apartments. The situation in Pudong is not the same. It looks a little bit trickier um, because it seems that people aren't really abiding by the rules and the regulations. And this weekend was a topic of conversation with my team today. This weekend, I was watching videos of green barricades going around independent buildings and whatnot, which was certainly interesting and a little bit scary too. Trying to prevent people from going out of their homes and actually more staying inside. There's pros and cons to that news. Don't know what to say about it. Feels like you're being jailed and imprisoned in your home. So not much fun. Feels quite negative actually, but that is the situation. The optimistic side of my team, they are all saying that by the end of May, things should be more free. People should be going around into their offices. Last week, the first batch of production companies were reopening, but the actual situation is the fact that if the factory workers are living in the dormitories of the factories, they can now work in those production facilities that have the license to be able to open themselves up. And at some point this week, batch 2 in Shanghai will open as well. However, if you think about a production facility, yeah, you've got your dormitory staff who are the actual production workers. But if you think about the actual office staff, they still can't get to and from the factory unless they decide to leave their homes and sleep at the factory to then make everything work and function. In terms of office buildings, supermarkets, restaurants, and whatnot, I'm a bit more pessimistic sitting in Europe and watching everything that I see in the media. But my team on the ground have a feeling that at least on the Puxi side, things should be opening up at least by the second half of May, so the 3rd to 4th week of May. Who knows? It's still a day-by-day situation. The good news from an administrative perspective is that tax deadlines for both March and April are postponed all the way to the last week of May. If you look at all the annual compliance obligations like audits, annual profits tax filings, annual inspections that have to occur, there's been no news on when these deadlines will be, but obviously everything is postponed as auditors physically cannot get documents to review. They aren't actually able to perform their jobs. So everything is delayed in that regard, and nobody should be panicking around that. Of course, I was watching a seminar on Friday organized by the Swiss Chamber of Commerce in regards to logistical issues, particularly in the F&B sector. It was fascinating to see how people are organizing themselves on the ground in terms of getting food products in and out, what's not being sold, what is being sold, what are the risks and challenges, and potentially what are certain solutions around that. If you guys are interested in learning about what's happening on the ground, I do encourage you to look at the Chambers of Commerce websites and events that are occurring in Shanghai. They're all online. They're all on Zoom, obviously. And you just have to pay sometimes between 100 and 250 RMB to participate. But you do get a lot of insight directly from people that are on the ground in terms of what's happening. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I don't want to make this too much of a negative video today. It is the start of the week, and I'm hoping by the end of this week, things will get better. There is the May holiday coming up. So from the 30th of April all the way to May 3rd, which is next week, Wednesday, people are going to be at home. It's a holiday. Nobody can get anywhere. So I'm hoping that for those 5 days also, the situation will improve dramatically because it's a holiday weekend throughout China. And again, I just want to highlight, it's not just Shanghai that is in a lockdown. Shanghai is in the news because it's the biggest metropolitan city in China. But yesterday there were 14 cases in Chaoyang district in Beijing, where now people, whenever they go into a building in Beijing, in that district, they have to do an antigen test. Guangzhou is still pretty much in a lockdown phase. Shenzhen is slowly opening up. I mean, there are a lot of cities that are in different levels of lockdowns, but there are over 40 cities that are experiencing this, not just Shanghai. And let's see how China is then going to develop if other cities start getting infected as well. So I just wanted to give you an update, and I hope to be able to give you an update every Monday, or at least after I have my team meeting, because I love to get news from my staff in terms of how they're coping and what they're dealing with and what they see on the ground physically. Yeah, I hope to be able to give you something next week as well. Stay tuned, and let's look at the COVID-19 situation in Shanghai as it develops over time. Have a great start to your weeks, everyone. Take care and goodbye.